How is it going? Hope you're doing great. Having as good a day as I'm having today. I'm a little bit beat. I'm not going to lie. I was doing schoolwork all goddamn day and getting ready to travel, going to the gym, making time for homie time, of course, as I do. And it's now about 1 in the morning and I'm just now heading home. But we had fun. I genuinely had a great time doing my thing, being with the homies, enjoying myself, making sure I stayed productive and passionate. But I had a bit of a rough one at the gym today, not gonna lie. I wanted to do power clean and jerks to continue, because I've been training doing full lifts, like the full snatches and the full clean and jerks every day for about, I want to say it's been like 4 to 6 months, and it's been going well. But now that my training is increased in weight so fast in such a short amount of time, doing full lifts every day just is not sustainable for me. So I kind of need to look into doing more accessory work most days and just leaving my maximum effort for full snatches and full clean and jerks on like once or twice a week, or like once a week for each of them, so twice a week. But my whole reason for doing full lifts every day originally was so that I could really hone in my form and get my shit together, because I had like decent form, but I was having a lot of struggle fixing things that I couldn't figure out. But now that that's all figured out, and my form's never been better, it's the most perfect it's ever been to my own standard. I need to start dialing it down a little bit when it comes to how hard I train every single day, because the fatigue has caught up to me. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of sucks, because I don't know if it's genetics or whatever, or just the way I've been training for years, but I have a really high tolerance for physical fatigue. So like today I was fully ready. I was feeling great. Like I thought I was gonna crush it, had no worries. But because of doing the full movement so goddamn often, my shoulder, especially on my left, was really bugging me today. I had a full knot in my left shoulder that a buddy of mine rubbed out, which was awesome, very homey-like of him. But I literally I chose not to commit to doing the jerks today. So but yeah, that's why I do a couple power clean and jerks, and then I switch to power cleans toward the end. My shoulders just could not fucking take it for the life of me. I just did not want to risk it. It was the pain on my shoulder started transferring to my wrist, and I don't fuck with that. So I just toned it down, just stuck to power cleans. Still pretty proud of the 295. Never power cleaned that before, so progress is being made. But it was tough, and it made the bench harder than it should have been, because if I did bench first, I probably would have had a lot more energy. But again, if the training is efficient, then I should have had energy for the bench. It's just a matter of the fatigue to my joints has been pretty high lately. So, I gotta let you know how my day's going. I worked out like 5 hours ago, so it's a little late for me. But physically, honestly, I was feeling like, I was probably feeling like a 7.5, maybe like a 7.6, because like I said, when you feel pain in any sort of lifting, especially a full body Olympic lift, it just kind of sucks. It's really hard to focus on whipping the bar as hard as you can to get underneath it when you feel that. It's not like muscle, like kind of sore kind of pain, but like actual like pinch, like ow fuck kind of pain, if you get what I mean. So it was just a little tough to get through, and it can drag down the motivation a little bit. But mentally, I'll put it at, honestly, 7.9. I think it's just under the cusp of 8, because if I hadn't gotten to make some decent realizations today, then it probably would have been lower. Because just like I was not pumped for the weights today. I was not thinking of hitting some crazy shit or like putting in my absolute maximum intensity. I put in my maximum effort, sure, but I wasn't really in it to win it today, if you get what I mean. The bench was especially slow. I really wanted to hit 345 this cycle for 2, but with the lack of energy and my shoulder being a little fucky wucky, just was not having it. So, but I guess just kind of getting into it, I've kind of made the realization going back and forth. Like, I've been experimenting with programming and different styles of training for, like almost, we're getting close to 3 years now of experimentation with what could work with my body and like what feels the best and all this other type of shit. And with all this like joint pain and like all this like discomfort, the knots in my muscles coming up, like especially if they like, I felt fine throughout the majority of my program, but if all this stuff is coming out during my peak week where I'm supposed to feel really good, that means my training's just not efficient right now, and stuff needs to be changed for the better. So sometimes when you get that new highest high, those new foundations in weightlifting are typically never forever. I don't think there's a person that ever has trained the exact same their whole lives. It always, you got to adapt to your new body at some point, whether you grow stronger or get weaker. And this, I thought I was making a huge major step forward, and while I made insane progress, got to give myself credit, I've now got to rethink everything, and I only got to run this program once, but it is too intense for my body to handle. Maybe at the lower weights, some more volume, it was feasible, but the moment it started getting pretty heavy and I was really putting in a fuck ton of effort, it just took me out. And I say it all the time, but your physical body needs to be your priority over the number that you put over your head. It's just how it is. If it's not, then you're going to get hurt and you're never going to be able to lift again. So, great buddy of mine wanted to give me some advice on programming because he's been in the game longer than me, and his form is spectacular. Man's level of fatigue is well maintained, has a lot of great experience with programming himself. And so, while I'm not going to just take one of his programs, I got to use the knowledge that I've built of what works with my body best and what I want to keep training, like bench, because he doesn't bench. But a lot of the things I've done work really well, like my full snatch and my full clean and jerk days, where I'll do the full snatch or clean and jerk movement with overhead squat or front squat, followed by some pulls. Those work incredibly well. I feel amazing on those days, every time. And then my squat days are typically really good. I typically feel great for squat. And then the accessory may not have as much energy, but still feels really solid. But every time I get to my third day in a row, which don't think that bench is taking me down, it's just a coincidence because I put bench on the last day before taking another rest day. It's just a matter of like that heavy, large amount of intensity in such a short amount of time puts a lot more strain on my bench day. And so because I have to use so much more shoulder strength on that last day instead of my lower body and my core, like even if I'm doing just like power cleans or power snatches and bench, it shouldn't be a hard day. But with all the increased fatigue over time, it just wears down on my joints and my arms a lot. So I'm going to look toward the new and improved possible program. I haven't gotten to look into it at all, but I have a lot of ideas and a lot of high hopes that it might be time to start looking into like 6-month training blocks, or at the bare minimum 12 weeks, so like 3 months, but like something like 3 to 6, like maybe I'll start with 3 just to not overwhelm myself, but something like 3 to 6 month training blocks where I can continuously put in the intensity and and do what I got to do. But like, even if I spend like a whole month like doing kind of what I'm doing now, where I'll do like some weeks of volume, a couple weeks of middle volume, and then a big peak week at the end, I can do something similar to that, but then do it like over and over and over again over the course of 6 months, but have a different goal in mind for the training every single time. So like I could have goals of like explosivity, like trying to like get as many explosive movements as I can, like the power movements, high hang movements, stuff like that. And then there can be training blocks where I focus on the main muscle group strength, so I can shift more toward a powerlifting style of Olympic lifting, where I do a lot more military presses, just shoulder presses in general. Maybe SOTS press, that could be cool. SOTS press is very difficult, but it's great for balance and works the hell out of your shoulders. So something like that, and then like continuously move up until I can hit a genuine peak block of training with all of that accumulation of months and months and months of time and effort put into the same weights all the time. Of course I can fluctuate here and there, and like I still want to keep feeling out the weights every day for the amount of energy that I have to give, but I think that it would be much more beneficial to give myself a lot more time to get to a genuine peak, because right now I get to a peak in about 5 weeks. Anybody who does competition knows that is not a long time. I've kind of just always trained this way, and being younger, I can put a lot more strain on my body, which I'm very grateful for. It's kind of a blessing in disguise, even though it puts me at more risk of injury. But when you're starting out, when you hit puberty up until you're about like in your mid 20s, I feel like your body is like pretty invincible. Towards 25, it definitely starts breaking down a good bit more if you keep training as crazy hard as you always do. But at least for me, at the age I'm at now, it is starting to get to a point where my body is going to be very susceptible to injury if I keep training as hard as I am. I'm training like a fucking 18-year-old right now with infinite knee strength, infinite elbow durability. It's not all going to be there all the time. Even though I'm getting stronger, other parts of my body get weaker. Or not get weaker, it's just I become slightly more frail by the day. When I'm 30, I'll have to drop it down a lot more, but I can still maintain my strength. It's just about how well you think about your levels of fatigue, how much pressure you're putting on your joints, how mobile you're staying. And, if all of those correlate well and you work out efficiently, it'll really boost the hell out of your passion, no matter what you do. So I'm just going to do my best and like really put in what I've got to get there. And I don't know what's to come. I think at the moment I'm planning on doing a mini deload. Tomorrow is my rest day, so you won't be seeing me tomorrow. But the next 3 days after that, I think I'm going to just train as like mini deload days where I'll do all my main lifts like snatch, clean and jerk, bench and squat every day. But I'll just do like super lightweight. It's like 50% of some shit, 50-60% for a single. Maybe like a double on my power lifts, and just not go heavy for just a couple days, because the strain I've felt on my wrist and my shoulders, I have not felt like this since I had like my bad bone growth in my hand like 10 months ago, and I am not one to repeat my same mistakes. I do think I went a little too hard during this peak week. This is the way I wanted to train, so I really wanted to try to give it my best effort while I could. But like today and my last bench day, I definitely had to tone it down a bit just to give my shoulders the rest that they truly needed. Because if I would love to hit some crazy big weight, and I want to really like get to deserve to throw some big stuff and have all the positives stack on top of each other. But sometimes, even if it's a peak week, you gotta chill out. This is the whole idea with me feeling out my program every single day when it comes to the weights. I get the sets beforehand, I get the workouts beforehand, but when it came to the weights, I didn't want to look at percentages anymore. I wanted to see what my body could give me based off what I was training that day. So I think that I can still do that as long as I don't go heavy when my body's really fucked up and fatigued, and going heavy when my body has the most energy I've got, because you're never going to be at 100% every day. So if you got the energy, then sometimes you just got to send it. But, I think that there's definitely a way where I can write out my workouts with just, more accessories, better ideas of what exactly I want to train for certain blocks, like hypertrophy versus other shit like I talked about before. But I feel like if I have a more efficient training cycle that allows for more variability and flexibility of my levels of fatigue, I will inevitably make really great progress and be able to put in the effort that I'm putting in now without feeling any risk of actual injury. So that's the current goal. Take it with a grain of salt, I have no idea if any of this could work for any of you. If you're thinking of trying it, of course, doing something new could help, but you gotta, whatever you decide to do in your training, you gotta decide it for yourself and whether or not you really believe that that's gonna lead to your next big step forward. So don't just see what I'm doing and be like, all right, well, he lifts a heavier weight than I do, so I'm going to do that. That's one of the biggest mistakes I've made. It will lead to injury so goddamn fast because I'm either training not enough for you or I'm training way too hard for you. It's very hard to meet in the middle and have that perfect synchronization. So do what you got to do for yourself. Take some of the advice that people say and just like add sprinkles of it into the training and experience that you've accumulated over the time that you've been doing it. Even if it seems like a short amount of time, it's your experience. So do what you got to do. Let me know how the lifts have been going, how life's been going. I love hearing about it. Keep spreading that positivity. Let me know just in general what's going on. I like hearing from you guys. So rest day tomorrow, like I said. So I'm going to be traveling back to Alabama to go see the girlfriend. Very excited. And going to be working out at Crunch. So you'll see a different scene again. But thanks for sticking around. And I will be back. See ya.